Alright, hello everybody. We're going to be talking about the risk for significant severe weather today. This will be a risk across portions of eastern Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama as well, maybe into southern Kentucky. What we're first going to do is we're going to pull up the satellite, infrared satellite, and then we're going to also, pull up the infrared satellite here. So yeah, here's the current look at the satellite. It's loading a little bit. It's probably gonna take a second to load. Let me just go to sub-regional sector, and then maybe we can do it. Yeah, there we go. Bro, come on. While we wait for that, we'll talk about the SPCs risk for today. There is a 10-hatch tornado risk that is in place across Mississippi, Alabama, and into Tennessee. Along with that, there's a 5 and 2% tornado risk surrounding this. Hail is a 5% risk, and it's only in effect in portions of Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi, where we're expecting supercell development. The wind risk is very expansive. It goes from the Carolinas and Virginias all the way into the Ozarks in Arkansas and into the Mississippi River Valley region. We also have a 30% risk as well. Still do not have the satellite updated. Okay, it's updated for the frame previous. So currently on satellite we have an area of showers and thunderstorms in Arkansas, Louisiana. Up in here we have cloud clearing in Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. What this is doing is this is yielding very high instability values, a lot higher than expected. If you look at the current CAPE, we currently have, this is mixed layer, but we currently have a lot. We have 750 going all the way into Mississippi as well. And if we look at the 500 millibar analysis here, we can see here that we have areas of convection trying to attempt to go off here in Arkansas. And very strong 500 millibar winds as well, which will contribute to a risk of severe weather. Along with that, we can see the station plots. We have 60 and 70 dew points, which was not expected at this point. The models were running very cold, and I will talk about that in a second. But here is my unofficial forecast. If you want to pause, look right here. But overall risk of severe storms in yellow. Red, more of a discrete tornado or severe thunderstorm mode expected. Strong tornadoes possible. Purple/pink. This area is expected to have the greatest strong tornado potential today, in my opinion. Then that like orangish color will likely have a QLCS risk with potential for a strong tornado and some gusts that may go over 70 mph. Orange mode, again, QLCS expected. Embedded supercell could produce tornadoes, damaging wind. Looking at the Spc Mesoscale Analysis here, we can see your mixed layer CAPE, and that's what we were looking at earlier. It's in 500 to 1,000 already. It was only expected to be, oh actually, okay. It was expected to be, oh that's the 16Z. We haven't gotten to 16 yet. But here's the surface-based CAPE from 15. And it's higher than it was supposed to be at 16Z, which is very weird. And very interesting as well. We can see here bands of convection firing off. If we look at the radar currently, we have a storm in Arkansas that's trying to get going rotation-wise. For a bit there, it had a bit of rotation. It still does, but it's not as well defined. These are more elevated thunderstorms right now, but we probably will see some of these try to transition over to a surface-based mode in a bit. They're in the slight risk. Looking at the current 0 to 1 kilometer SRH as well, it's pretty significant with values widespread of over 300 to even up to 600 in spots. If you look at the 500 millibar flow, oh not 700, 500 millibar, we can see here very strong winds across the risk area. And then 850 millibar, we have a very strong low-level jet already. It's expected to get up towards 70, 80 knots later tonight, which is going to be a problem. So let's look at the models now. We're going to look at the ARW. This is the model that has probably been doing the best with the thermals throughout the risk area. So looks like it initialized pretty good too. We have areas of convection right now in Arkansas. This is around 15Z, and yeah, that looks about right. 16Z. 17Z, we probably start to see more of a or 18Z, we probably start to see a tornado watch get issued at this point. We might even see an upgrade to moderate risk at some point as well, but look at that. Very good hodograph here. We have pretty solid thermodynamics. They're pretty marginal, but given the fact that we have a very good hodograph, it won't be too bad to compensate for them. And then we also see that the storms get a bit more intense here. Going to North Mississippi, look at a sounding. It's a bit contaminated. Let me go to Central Mississippi and look at what's sounding. Very significant, lot more significant Cape values than some of the models show. 1,000 will do in the mixed layer region with a hodograph like this. Very significant hodograph. Along the Mississippi-Alabama border as well. Not as good thermos, but we have a good hodograph as well. Let's stop it here and take a box sounding at hour 7. Let's see what we can get. We'll take a box sounding just using the crossovers, and they're looking very significant. Let me just take a box sounding here. Should take a second to load. Wow. That is concerning. What we have in this box sounding, we have 3 Cape almost of 100, which is very significant. We have 1 kilometer SRH of 400, along with surface-based Cape of 100 and mixed layer of 900. Pretty steep low-level lapse rates will allow for storms to go quickly. As you get into mid-levels, they're a little bit less steep. Pretty solid shear across the board as well, with the cloud layer shear being a little less. 20Z, we start to see embedded areas of supercell development. Probably going to be more of a mixed mode today. Some areas will have linear segments, some areas will have supercells, and other areas will have a mixture of both. The warm sector, one of the concerns is that the warm sector could get a bit messy today. We'll have to watch that, especially in Mississippi and Alabama. Now, the concern about morning convection is just gone, especially across Mississippi. Like, we don't have any, so that's a very big concern for the people if you're involved, given the fact that you have so much shear. And wow, we already have 1,500 surface-based Cape on shore at this point in Louisiana. That's concerning. We have around the amount, with a bit more instability expected further north as well. That's not good at all. So currently we have a lot less convection than what was expected as well, so maybe the models are overdoing that. But let's go on to the Hodograph Map. This was made by Cameron Nixon very recently on College Ado page, which is very cool that we got that update. But as we can see here, throughout the day, we start to see significant values of instability really start to get going in South Mississippi there. We'll take a sounding over the Hodograph Map there. It looks very significant. Lots of shear. Oh yeah. Lots of wind shear. Pretty solid lapse rates as well. Go a little bit later to 20Z. It's a concern as well. Further north you go, the less likely you'll see more significant stuff with this. The wrap doesn't have as much instability going further north, which could be a fail mode for that area. But as you can see here, this is very solid. Along with that, this is more of a linear profile. It's more supercellular. And then this up further north, that's another pretty mixed profile as well. As we get into the night, the instability is expected to decrease around 23Z. We'll take a sounding off the wrap here, and we can analyze it. So we have a very good hodograph still with SRH values pretty high. One thing I will say is that the wrap is underdoing the SRH and surface temps by a good bit, so expect a bit more instability, expect a bit higher SRH values because the low is 2 millibars lower than the wrap was expecting at this point. If we look at the MSLP, we were only expecting a 1006 millibar low, but we have a 1004 millibar low. And we also have a bit more backed winds in the warm sector than expected. Well, actually, they're around the same as expected, maybe. But yeah, they're a little bit more. We'll probably have this around 1002 millibars at that point, and then probably 998 maybe. Excuse me, but looking at the overall upper level or lower level winds, they're mainly contained further south. I mean, northern Mississippi has them. So I mean, maybe this is right. We'll see. But yeah, it's looking pretty significant. Let's look at the SREF. We'll look at the instability contour for over 500 Mixler Cape. This is the 9Z run. So we have a pretty solid chance there in Mississippi that we see around 500 Mixler Cape, and we actually already have 500 Mixler Cape, so I would say this is pretty useless at this point. Something else I wanted to mention is that looking at the most recent HRRR runs, they're running a little bit warm in North Mississippi, but I think it's pretty correct overall. The HREF is running overall a couple degrees cold. The ARW model, the model that I showed you guys earlier, the ARW, it's running a little bit warm in areas further north, but a little bit cold in areas further south. And it probably has one of the better handles on the thermodynamics overall with this event, I would say. NSSL is running super cold. FV3 is running pretty cold in most areas, along with the NAM. HRRR is running around what you would expect as well. I will quickly show the HRRR very quickly. I won't really base it off the reflectivity too much, but HRRR shows some super selectivity later this afternoon along with a linear segment. We get, let's take Western Alabama there. Oh yeah, very solid profiles across the board. What about a little bit earlier in the day, Mississippi? Oh yeah, so solid profiles overall throughout the day. Let's look at one last thing. We'll look at this cam model. This is off the CAM's website. Here's the southeast for later this afternoon. Oh, wait, that's the wrong thing. So we're expecting a more discrete storm mode based off this model later this afternoon. I think there's a way to get helicity tracks on it too. Composite, maybe? Is that a way to get helicity tracks? Oh, yeah. So we're expecting some intense updrafts to start going up around 1920Z. Those will transition into Alabama. Now we can see here a lot more happen. Now let's go a little bit further north and go to we'll go to this southeast region. There we go. So we can see the whole event now. So as you can see here, we see a pretty intense updraft get going there in southeast Missouri, southern Illinois. Another one get going there in Tennessee. Pretty widespread risk of supercells that we get off this model. And then we can go a little bit further north as well into the Ohio Valley region. And we can see that we get heavy snow in areas like Illinois, Indiana. And then to the south, we have an area of severe thunderstorms going on. And a pretty strong line of storms pushing through PA. We might see a bit of strong wind gusts tonight across PA, West Virginia, Kentucky, Eastern Tennessee, into the Carolinas as well as that squall line starts to diminish. Overall, looking at the 0 to 1 kilometer helicity tracks, we had a pretty significant one there in Tennessee, and then a pretty significant one up there in Ohio, Kentucky, as that squall goes through. Let's go a little bit further south too and look at the southeast region. Let's just see what they look like. So they get pretty significant as well tonight, so we'll have to watch out for that. we'll quickly check and look at the radar here. Not much has changed, but that will do it for this one. Stay safe today, and we'll see you in the next one.